Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inside Indiana Overtime. John Bauernfeind, Alex McCarthy from Inside Indiana, and we just watched Indiana basically do what was expected of it, beating Grand Canyon 94 to 66 here. Grand Canyon hung around for a lot of the first half, and then Indiana came out strong, like a bullet out of the locker room at halftime and just kind of put them away. I think it was an 11-point game at halftime, and then Indiana just totally kind of ran away with it in the second half. Outscored him 52 to 35, and James Blackman was huge. Starting off, I think he had 7 of the first 9 points.
Yeah, 7 in the first 9. Finished with team high 18 points, tied for the game high at 18 points, 7 of 14 shooting. Another impressive performance from Blackman. And IU actually only had 3 players score in double figures, although they scored 94 points. 11 players scored in total. And you might not believe it, but Troy Williams and Hunter Mascara were the other players, in addition to Blackman, who scored in double figures. Overall impressive performance from IU. They looked a little sluggish, in my opinion, in the first half, although they scored 42 points. They just weren't really playing as well as I thought that they would. Only 14 points in the paint in the first half. They had 30 in the second half, 36 bench points. Solid performance from this IU team, getting back on track after losing to Louisville Tuesday night. And they kind of have somewhat of a bye week because the next game is not until next Saturday against Butler.
Right, and it's obviously because of finals week, so it's a bye week from games certainly, but not really they'll still have to do their stuff in the classroom. But you mentioned Troy Williams scoring in double figures. He had 14. He also led IU with 8 rebounds and played 21 minutes without a turnover, which for him, actually for basically anyone on IU's team, it's darn impressive.
Only 4 turnovers total, the lowest in the Tom Crean era while he's at IU. 0 turnovers in the second half. Crean, pretty much just summed it up as best as we all could, just saying how it's pretty crazy that happened. With this IU team especially, they have 19 turnovers against Louisville.
Something like that.
Only 4 turnovers, really incredible.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon only had 6 though too, so
that's true. It
tells you about tonight's game. Pretty clean.
Yeah, there are a lot of missed shots at times, but it was very fast-paced, very pretty well played overall, and Indiana just obviously was the much better team here tonight, kind of running away with it. You mentioned the Louisville game. It was because obviously we didn't do a video after that, but kind of an interesting game. I thought Indiana played pretty well, especially for being in a 20-point loss. They had the lead over Louisville with whatever it was, 15, 16 minutes left in the game. Shooting like crazy in the first half. I think they were 7 for 10 in the first half, and then it kind of sunk them in the second half when they were only 1 for 10. But tonight, a pretty good, cohesive 40-minute performance, especially one that kind of, as the game went along, it seemed like they almost played a little bit better, especially in those opening minutes of the second half. But I don't know, is there anything else you wanted to touch on here, John? It was just kind of a very well-played game by Indiana, kind of on all fronts.
Hunter Mascara, another game with double digits in points. After the game, he said something along the lines of, I know I'm the biggest guy on the team, and I know it's my job to play well, and if I don't play well, we might not play well. So he's looked good offensively the last 2 games. I know he kind of disappeared in the second half against Louisville, but obviously his development and his presence on the team was a big issue or a big talking point entering the season, and it has been and it will continue to be, but he's looking a lot better offensively. And I was just kind of thinking this to myself. He had a nice block in the first half, and I think Crean and the coaches, if he wanted to, Hunter could probably average about 2 blocks per game. And I still think they need to figure out what he's going to do defensively, because at times he just plays, it seems like, really tentatively, and sometimes he's over-aggressive when he wants to block shots. And he just seems to, in my point of view at least, he needs to find something of a balance on defense where sometimes he's trying to take too many charges that are just ridiculous. Like he tried to take a charge on that guy who looked like he was 5'7" today instead of just putting his hands straight up.
Yeah, he's been doing that, it seems like, all season, and really biting on shot fakes and leaving his feet when he shouldn't. And that's kind of where the struggle is going to be a lot for Indiana all year. Really, it's just going to be on the defensive end with Perea down low, with perimeter guys kind of guarding the dribble drive offense there. So still a lot of question marks, for this 8-2 Indiana team. They were 8-2 at this point last year too, entering the Crossroads Classic. before they lost to Notre Dame in Indianapolis. But this year it's yeah, a team with the same record, but I think we're seeing just a more cohesive team, a team with a little bit more effort, and a team that dramatically has improved their shooting. And I think they averaged like 15.5 turnovers a game last year. They're down to 12 this year. And again, that's playing teams like Grand Canyon and Mississippi Valley State and things like that. Still, it's certainly a positive, trending in the right direction in terms of their shooting, their turnover totals. So, still not really sure exactly what we have on our hands here with this Indiana team. If it's a tournament team, if it's not.
Butler's going to be a good test.
Yeah. Butler's going to be. That'll be a fun game. Butler's probably going to be ranked there.
Yep.
And
15 right now.
Yep. And I don't know. It's always a fun event for people in the state of Indiana. We'll be there, and I don't know. We'll be keeping up with coverage over the next week, even though these kids have finals. These rambunctious kids with their tests. So stick with us here at InsideIndiana.com. For John Bauerfein, I'm Alex McCarthy, and you guys have a good rest of your weekend/week.